This is me, and I got invited to a server called the LegendsSMP. Now let's just say the rules are very strict. But that isn't gonna stop me from absolutely destroying everyone on it. There are only about 20 people that were actually invited to this SMP, but I don't know exactly how many people are actually joining. Our game plan is pretty simple. Get materials, get a good starter base with villagers. Not that hard, right? Well, we'll see about that later in the video. We found a pretty big cave in the first couple minutes of the game. This protected us against other players because we were still close to spawn. However, we won't be needing this armor very soon. We got some food to at least survive the long journey ahead of us. And boy was it a long journey. We nearly ran for 1 hour straight just to find a village. But then, we finally found it. A desert village near the beautiful water and a badass biome. Perfect for a base if you ask me. By the way, I'm new to this cinematic shots, so if you have any tips or you just like it, let me know, because it really helps. Eventually, we got a little breeding cage for the villagers, so we could progress and get more stuff out of it. We were running out of wood, so I went ahead and chopped some wood. This is Moonstar, also known as Moon. He and I got into a little argument, and you could say we're enemies now. Luckily, he won't be much of a threat for the first few weeks because he prioritizes elytra macing. But given that the end won't be opening very soon, he won't be that dangerous. I smelted my ores and got to work on the villager breeder. We want to be the strongest and mightiest players on the server. But in order to do that, we'll need to grind these first few hours and get an advantage over the enemy. A friend of mine on another team messaged me about that he already had full diamond gear and was building a base, so we really needed to hurry up. I got the work done and wanted to gain some materials while my teammates were busy getting the breeder done. I found a pretty big cave and decided to enter it. This turned out to be a great idea, given that I got 17 diamonds from that mining trip. That's crazy. By the way, I'm using 2 different shaders in this video. Comment below which one is your favorite. I'll try to include it in the next video of this series. While I was gone, my third teammate, let's call him Lars, joined and got to our base. This was huge, because now we could really start progressing in terms of farms and possessions. This is the end of day 1. Day 2, the day of the fight. We started off the day chopping wood and getting everything sorted out. This was important to get enough supplies for the rest of the day. Next, we thought we could explore and maybe find a base. We already knew that other players were nearby, so it was just a matter of time to find them. And sure enough, we soon found a village where players were building. We tried to be friendly, but suddenly they said that they were gonna trap us. We of course couldn't let this happen, so we had to take action. This was it, right? Well, not quite. You see, I chose my team very carefully. These people are not quitters. We stay focused and leave behind what has happened. This will hopefully guide us to ultimately rule the server. We were very lucky that the enemy was so kind and gave us most of our stuff back, like our armor. This would help us to keep focused and to get back to upgrading villagers. But the peace between us didn't last long. They were here to take revenge on us for the naked guy we killed earlier. But now, instead of one guy, their whole team was here to kill us. We had to run, otherwise we would surely die. But this was proven harder than expected. I tried to focus on one guy, but sometimes that just wasn't possible to do, because two other guys were chasing me at the same time. At this point, I was alone in this fight. My teammate had died due to not having enough golden apples and a lack of armor. Problems that the enemy didn't have. I gotta play this smart, or else I'll suffer the same fate as my teammates. They were hunting me down until I entered a cave, where I cobwebbed some of them, to slow them down and get me out of danger. Here, I tried to hit them off, but I didn't have enough knockback to do so. I got one low because the other one didn't immediately jump down. This was my only chance at killing this guy and thus surviving this attack. I failed to kill him, so my chances of surviving dropped significantly, but not zero. I could still survive this if I played it smart, like dig into the wall or use an ender pearl. You can see for yourself what I did to escape that situation. Yeah, I didn't do any of that. I know, I'm not the smartest guy you'll ever see. Subscribe for more Minecraft content. I can reassure you that some wild stuff is waiting to be seen in the next episode. I genuinely hope you enjoyed and hope to see you next week.